Well, good morning.
Morning.
Right? Oh, good morning.
Hi.
Okay, so obviously let's just acknowledge the fact that it's different. It feels different here, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Yes.
just want to let you guys know it's all Ashley's fault. This
It is.
This
I'll
is
take it.
totally Ashley. She was like, we really need to put round tables up and we need to do something different.
Yes.
So, you like it?
I like it.
Awesome.
In fact, there's 3 empty seats over there if anyone wants to go to a table.
Awesome. Yeah, and we got seats in the back if you don't have space in the tables here, and obviously there's upstairs loft as well. But welcome those of you joining us online as well. This is a different conversation, a different morning. It's what if everyone.
Yes.
So let's talk about what if everyone,
Let's
because
do it.
we started this years ago.
12 years ago.
12 years ago. So let's talk about it.
Yeah, so we started Mosaic in 2006, however many years ago that was. And a couple of years in, I had always had a heart for outreach, and not that you didn't, but you were church planning mode. And we just started talking about it, and we're like, we just feel the need to be even more engaged in our community and figure out how to just be a voice of hope. We had already started talking about this idea of faith, hope, and love. And so 12 years ago, we gathered together a group of people, some nonprofits, some other churches, and we said, hey, let's just pull together one big serve day where we can go out and serve our community, love on our community, provide volunteers for nonprofits all over the city, do acts of kindness, all these things. We're going to talk about some of that this morning. And it was pretty awesome, and we've been doing it ever since.
Yeah, yes, we have. You remember the first time we gave away gas?
Oh my goodness, it was crazy. I think it was right here at this gas station.
Yeah.
Well, the one
of the stations
to the left.
here, yeah.
And no one was doing this at that time. Since then, I've seen it happening, but at that time, you probably dreamed up that idea.
I know, I did. I was like, let's give away gas.
Yes, and so we took over the gas station.
We had thousands of dollars worth of gas.
We did, and we stood at the pumps, and people pulled up, and they're like, what are you doing? And we're like, we're paying for your gas today. And it was crazy. Yes. The line, I don't think they appreciated the congestion we caused.
And then gas got expensive, and we're like, we're stopping this.
We didn't do that anymore.
It got super expensive. We're like,
right?
So now we're going to have charging stations.
Yeah.
Teslas for you, and for you, for you. No, joking. But yeah, it's been quite the journey.
Yeah.
And we've done so many different projects.
We have.
So do you remember the first conversations that we were having about outreach? And I threw out the idea of like, hey, what if we called it What If Everyone? And you're like, come on, can we just call it something simple? And I was like, but what if we called it What If Everyone? Like the big idea was like, how about we inspire the world or inspire followers of Jesus to really be people who want to serve their community. Like that's the heartbeat of the message of Jesus.
Yeah.
So that's why we said, hey, what if everyone worshiped God by serving humanity? Like what if that was the sum of our spirituality? And then you started, obviously doing research and all kinds of stuff, and we launched into doing outreach locally and globally. Yeah. And so even globally right now, you're going on a mission trip.
Yeah, in 2 weeks, actually, we have a team leaving here going to the Dominican Republic. And you'll be hearing a lot about that starting next weekend, about the ways that we can come alongside the ministry happening in the Dominican Republic.
And you've been doing this with this particular ministry for how many years?
It's at least 10, if not more. I can't remember.
You know what? I know that Reggie, who leads the trip, is online, and I'm sure he can tell you guys in the chat how long, because he goes every year and he leads it.
Yeah.
And so you guys are going to be doing a lot of work, and one particular work, one housing situation. Yeah. So we'll tell you stories about that later on.
Yep.
So then we do Italy as well. So we've got a sister church. I don't know if you know this, but we have a sister church in Bergamo, Italy, that you've been.
I have. It was amazing. It's in northern Italy, right outside of Milan. And the crazy thing about it, it couldn't be more of a God connection. You actually met some people when you were on a trip in Italy, and they introduced you to a pastor. And he is Brazilian, planted a church in Italy, and his church is just this
Mosaic.
Quirky little multicultural church in northern Italy. And so we've been able to come alongside them and partner with them and support them.
Yeah, and so it's been awesome. So let's talk about the heart of what if everyone, like after COVID and just reminding ourselves and all of us, like, why do we disrupt, what's the word? Disrupt?
Disrupt?
That's it. Say it again.
Disrupt?
Disrupt. This is our relationship, by the way. I mess up words, she fixes them. I mess up everything, she fixes it.
No,
That's pretty much it. Yeah. Disrupt.
No. Why are we doing a service like this this morning?
That's
is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Well,
so sad.
The ironic thing is I was actually a Spanish major, and then I ended up with...
I know. I know. It's so funny.
Okay, not the
I
topic.
speak several languages, but not Spanish.
No. And I don't speak any of the other ones you speak, so there we go. Anyway, back on track. Focus. Okay, so why are we doing this morning? Part of it is because pre-COVID, and we're slowly, the whole world's trying to figure out what it looks like nowadays, right? So this is part of that. We would do a serve day every spring and every fall. And so for this October, we just started brainstorming of like, what can it look like these days? What can this look like? And we wanted to just come together and just say, hey, you know what? It doesn't have to be a huge time commitment. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but we just want to walk you through some simple ways that we can step out of our comfort zone, step out of our routine, and just show a little bit of love and kindness to some people right here in our community or in your community. Live stream, we're going to share some ways that these are things that you can take and do in whatever community you're in.
So you mentioned here on your notes, you put love is primarily an action word in the Bible.
That's
it's not
right.
an emotion.
Right,
Explain
it's not an emotion. It's an action word. Love is lived out. Love is exemplified. People will know you are a follower of Christ by the way you live out love for them, love for humanity. We should be, and now more than ever, we should be known by love. We, as Christ followers, should be known as people of love. And if we're known for other things, then we might be totally missing it.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to go to a passage. If you've got access to scriptures, if not, we'll put it on the screen for you as well. This is Matthew 25. Let me give you the context of this before we jump into it. Because as we were talking about this, I was like, you know what? The title of this sermon or this talk or whatever should be, don't be a goat.
Right.
Don't be a goat, right? So the context is what? It's basically Jesus telling a story of that he's going to gather people together. One day there's going to be a moment, and he's going to separate groups of people. Some will be goats, and some will be sheep. The goal is not to be don't be a goat, okay? So why don't you do this? Turn to your neighbor and say, don't be a goat. Don't be a goat. Okay, now turn to the other person that you're very comfortable with and tell them, you smell like a goat.
No.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. No. All right, so that's the context of it. And so he basically divides them up, and then he explains it, right? So let's read this. Actually, you read it. You're better.
Okay. And this is just a story, a teaching that he's using for some context there. He says, "For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me." Then the righteous will answer him, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to eat? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothing and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go to visit you?" The king will reply, "Truly, I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." And then it goes on, the passage, it says,
Yeah, so let me explain that.
Yeah.
So let me not explain that, but let me just say, so let me ask you, the big idea that Jesus is saying here is that there's a group of people that he's calling righteous, the people who are like, okay, this is the group that you guys are actually lived out the kind of life that I want you to live. And so this conversation is really about spirituality. It's all of us trying to figure out, most churches, all churches, I guess, and even other religions are trying to figure out what kind of spirituality really makes a difference. And so Jesus in this passage, he kind of says, okay, this is the people who are actually done it right, and this is the people who are done it wrong. And there's a sheep and the goat. And he talks to the sheep and he says, let me tell you how and why you got it right. And so when this conversation starts, he says, this is why you did it. When you did this to the least of these people, you did it to me. And so what's interesting here is that when you think of spirituality, that it's not lived out in that way, people go, well, hold on, I've been to church, I pray all the time, I do all these things, I do all that, I do this, and I've been in spiritual conversations. I mean, my whole life has been surrounded in spiritual activity. And so here's what happens. A religion becomes, well, a movement, I would say, becomes a religion when people systemize what it means to become that kind of person. So that means, like in Islam, when they took the ideas of what it means to be a Muslim and you put an institution behind it, now you have Islam. So now you have Christianity, because Christianity is connected to, hey, I'm a Christian because, not because I feed the poor or because I do this or I do all the good things. Christianity has become I believe in this, I'm involved in this, I'm a part of this, I believe this, I confess this. And so there's an idea of like confessing and believing and all that. And here Jesus is saying, let me give you really the point of all of this. And that is that if you miss this, you missed it all. And so in this conversation, the next passage we'll jump to it is basically, and that's why you're looking at me going, hold on, what has happened here? Because all of that, what I just said, I didn't put in here. Yeah, because I'm making it up as we go. No. But before we get to that is that the goats, right? The people who didn't get it right, they're like, hold up. What's going on here? I don't know what you're saying here, but I don't think we got it wrong. I mean, sure, they did all these good things, but we didn't get it wrong. And then they start off and they say this.
They also will answer, Lord, when did we see you hungry or thirsty or a stranger or needing clothes or sick or in prison and did not help you? He will reply, truly, I tell you, whatever you did not do for one of the least of these, you did not do for me.
Yeah. It's the idea of not doing for the least of these and doing for the least of these. It is. Is it strange, though, isn't it? Like to think like when you do this, when we do outreach, when acts of service, we're doing it to Jesus.
Right.
I mean, how?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that it's even as simple. You know, sometimes we think it has to be this big, you know, all-in commitment to go do something grand, but it can simply being gracious to your server at lunch today, and you're going to be gracious to Jesus through that today.
Yeah. And it's you looked up stats on just our city, of the kinds of things that if we don't, as churches, don't focus on things like this, things of like acts of service, actually practically living out love, then we're just going to surrender to these facts, right? So let's talk about some of these facts.
You know, obviously, I think we have people from all over parts of Greater Charlotte, as well as all over the country and Malaysia. But every single city is going to struggle or have things that challenge it in its own way. And so I've had such a heart for Charlotte all of these years, and I've really tried to get to know the nonprofits, the people who are really making an impact and a difference in this city, and but also just understand what are some of the things that really are challenging right here in the Charlotte community, and can we try to come around some of those particular things? Because listen, I get overwhelmed. There are such a vast array of things that we could be involved in, you know, from foster care to foster animals to, which my family did growing up, actually fostered animals, and, you know, the prison ministry and single moms, like just everything. And but we can't all do all of it, right? And so one of the things we want to just look at is some of the things that are in Charlotte that we can maybe try to come along and support. So did you know that right now in Charlotte, in Mecklenburg County, there are over 2,600 people who are considered homeless as of September, right now. And you can even see some at the intersection right here when you came to Mosaic. We've gotten to know some of the people right here at our intersection by name and have gotten to interact with them, and that will change the way that you see people when you see them out in the street, and it makes such a big difference. And that number doesn't even include the people who are living on someone's sofa or staying at a relative's house or maybe deep in the woods so that they don't get rounded up. Some of the people we've gotten to know right here, they showed up a couple weeks ago because their campsite got burned down. You know, I mean, these are like people right next door to us.
Yeah.
That's just one area.
And I do remember walking into their space, like just, it's so strange. I mean, right here, friends, there are neighborhoods, like homeless neighborhoods in a sense, or communities, and some are secret. Like, if you know someone, then they'll take you through them, and it'll change your life. I mean, it just, because you go, hold on, they're living like this, like 5 minutes from where I live? Like, how's this looks like third world all of a sudden.
We even knew a lady, and, you know, the pandemic has just caused so much disruption, and we met a lady, she's working at a local pizza restaurant as a manager, living in her car, and because, you know, long story, but like stuff happens to people, and it's just crazy. And one of the reasons that this is happening here is another big issue in Charlotte is affordable housing. There's a huge lack of affordable housing in Charlotte. The latest data shows that Charlotte-Mecklenburg lacks 45,000 units for extremely low income. So we would need 45,000 more apartments or some type of housing for people who are extremely low income, and that's not even the people who are just low income, maybe one paycheck away from being kicked out of their place. Another issue is upward mobility.
Yeah, explain that. Idea.
This is something years ago, a study was done in Charlotte. Now this was a while back. Hopefully we've made some progress, but a while back a study was done in the city of Charlotte compared to big cities all over the country, ranked last, dead last in this concept of upward mobility. And this just means that a child born in poverty right here in Charlotte, it's harder for them to get out of poverty than any other large city. So if they're born into poverty, they don't have the connections and the resources that they need to be able to get themselves out of that.
That seems so strange, right?
It does, and there's a lot of factors for that. There's a lot of
for Charlotte to be one of those places. If like if you're born poor, really poor in Charlotte, versus another country. I mean, sorry, another city. You're more likely to stay in that.
Yes.
Because you live here.
Yes. Yeah. Another thing, I don't know how many people know this, but our education system, CMS was just burdened before the pandemic, and so many things have been amplified. There are 94 Title I schools inside CMS for this school year. And a Title I school means that a large portion of the students at that school are at or below poverty level. And that does entitle them to be able to have things like free breakfast and free lunch for all the students. But 94 out of the 181 schools in CMS are considered Title I. And so that means that most of those families are just truly lacking the resources that they need. In fact, I'm so grateful we work with some organizations that come alongside. Bags of Hope is one of the nonprofits that we work with.
Yeah, talk about Bags of Hope. How did you start that? Or how did that happen? That's a cool story.
So it actually goes back to the fact that for years, Mosaic has come alongside and partnered with a Title I elementary school right down the street called Winding Springs Elementary. And they have the minimum to be considered Title I believe, is around 35% of the student population. Winding Springs, I believe 95 to 100% of the student population is considered at or below poverty level. And so we have come alongside them in multiple ways to partner. Well, at one point, their social worker reached out to us and said, hey, a lot of our kids go home hungry. They have breakfast here, they have lunch here, and then on Fridays they go home and they don't have access to food sometimes all weekend long. Is there any way you can help us with that need? And so we had started learning and researching, and these little Bags of Hope. We actually called it Bags of Hope because Hope for All is our thing. And we would put together some food for the kids to take home on a Friday. But we just weren't set up to be able to meet the need that they have.
Yeah, you needed like hundreds of bags every
many
weekend.
more than we could possibly provide. But here's what's so awesome about God is I called a friend, an outreach person at another church, and I said, you guys do this, how can we do it? And she said, well, why don't you start with 5 bags? And I said, oh, yeah, I guess we can start with 5 bags. And so we started with 5 bags. And then people were awesome and generous, and we were able to kick it up to 10 bags. And but it was every single week, in and out, in and out. And then all of a sudden, someone texted me, I think someone on staff, and said, did you know there's a nonprofit called Bags of Hope here in Charlotte? So I emailed the lady, and I said, I love what you're doing. We want to do this exact same thing for this particular school. Can we join forces? And she emailed me right back, and she said, you won't believe this, but I'm actually sitting at your church right now. I thought I'd just come and visit. And I'm like, what? So we got to meet up, and we partnered with Bags of Hope. I am now on the board of directors, and Mosaic is one of the partner churches with Bags of Hope, and because of that crazy God story, Winding Springs now gets all the bags that they request, and along with 28 other schools in the area.
So you went from 5 bags a week to how many does now Bags of Hope provide every week?
Well, the beauty of it is I don't actually know because we have partnered with Bags of Hope nonprofit, and they oversee all of that, and we just get to be a part of it. And
do you have any idea how many? It's not just 5 anymore.
Oh, it's not 5 anymore.
What is that?
It's probably 40 or 50. And then we do Thanksgiving bags and spring break bags and all kinds of things.
That's awesome. Awesome.
But the other thing that we learned through all of this brings us to another nonprofit that I want to talk about is Caterpillar Ministries. So one thing that we learned is you can come alongside and you can give the kids some food, or you can maybe even provide some tutoring for students. But if they're going back to a very disruptive household or an unsupported household, they're still going to struggle so much. And so actually just last week, I got to have lunch with the director of Caterpillar Ministries. And I tell you what, it just did my heart so good to listen to what they're doing and just the impact. So the Caterpillar has come alongside a low-income, predominantly Spanish-speaking neighborhood in Huntersville. And 15 years ago, when they came into that neighborhood, they just started providing like some tutoring and some basic resources immediately to the kids, right? And Sarah, the director, was telling me that right now, the people who were kids then and did not have the support system in place, they're the people right now who are struggling with drug addiction, homelessness, some things like that. But over the years, after 15 years of coming alongside the kids and then realizing they needed to support the whole family, and so they have come in with ESL classes and immigration attorneys to help them know what they actually have access to, and helping with documentation and paperwork and tutoring and Bible studies and counseling. They pay for counselors for people that now, 15 years in, they have 90 high school seniors who mostly are from Hopewell and some other schools, and they believe that every single one of them are actually going to be able to graduate this year. And there's one, she told me this one particular story, our son's at App State, and one student who went through their whole program from start to finish graduated with a full ride, 4-year scholarship to App State because of them coming alongside. So that was a long-term commitment. And I know I'm probably going on and on about too much, but just there are so many people doing just behind the scenes great work in our community. And so that's part of the heart of What If Everyone, is that we can come along and say, hey, guess what? Did you know this is happening in Charlotte? In fact, yesterday I was volunteering at Bags of Hope with the Barino family, and Haley is in she's going to become she's at CPCC to become a eye technician, something or other. I'm sorry, I don't know. Optometrist, something.
Yeah, sounds
anyway,
right.
She said, did you know that there's a free an eye clinic at CPCC? I said, No. So I emailed Sarah. I said, Sarah, did you know there's a free medical eye clinic at CPCC? No, please tell me more. So now, because of Haley, I'm going to be able to help Caterpillar Ministries hopefully get some of their people to this clinic. And so this type of network, this is part of the upward mobility and social capital of being able to connect people with resources and support systems and structures, and it makes a dramatic difference. This girl who is now at App State, her family, in fact, initially wouldn't let her go, because they said, we need you to translate, we need you for childcare, you can't leave us, no one has ever done that before, like no one's ever gone to college, like you can't leave home. And so Caterpillar brought in a counselor, and for 3 months, the family met together with a counselor and walked through how life could look if they would let their daughter accept that and go. And so, anyway.
No, this is awesome. This is great. You can tell she's a little excited about this stuff. Or a little passionate about this. But I think what it does is it reminds us that, again, our lived out faith in this person of Jesus, understanding what he's calling us to, it requires us to go, hey, we are part of each other's lives, even though we don't want to be, sometimes, we're connected regardless. And you are someone else's miracle. Like, you are someone else's help. I mean, and I've heard stories, and I've seen people do this throughout the years at Mosaic, that we're not people that go, you know what, we're going to make enough money and then just give money towards an organization. No, it's more than that. We've become a certain kind of people that whenever we meet a need, we run towards it, or we meet it in some way. We figure out a way to do it. And I'm so grateful for you. I'm grateful for the fact that even as I look around, there have been people who've been putting in commitment over the years at Mosaic, but even these other organizations. And it's over time. Like, you can always make a big, you can always have a wow factor when you do something just one time. But true impact happens over years and years of commitment when you see lives change. And so I think this is huge. Let's go to Isaiah really quick, because then we got some work to do, right?
Yeah, we do. I think, you've probably heard this before, but this truly is our heartbeat. It's the heartbeat of Jesus, and so it is our heartbeat, and a verse that we resonate with so much and is what motivates us. So Isaiah 58, 6-9 says, this is the kind of fasting I want. Free those who are wrongly imprisoned. Lighten the burden of those who work for you. Let the oppressed go free, and remove the chains that bind people. Share your food with the hungry, and give shelter to the homeless. Give clothes to those who need them, and do not hide from relatives who need your help. That's funny.
Let's read that again.
No. Then your salvation will come like the dawn, and your wounds will quickly heal. Your godliness will lead you forward, and the glory of the Lord will protect you from behind. Then when you call, the Lord will answer, yes, I am here. He will quickly reply.
Man, that's so good. And, it's funny we say this, but that's when our Christianity is lived out, how well we actually love the people that we are so annoyed with, Like, how do you do that? Huh?
That we want to hide from?
That we want to hide from, And Thanksgiving is coming up, so God bless. But I hope that today that you've got a heart of what we're trying to become as a community. Not just do, but become. That we're trying to become a people who don't just talk about fasting or fast because it's a very religious thing to do, but it's this kind of fast. This fasting of like, hey, we're going to put aside our needs to meet the needs of other people. We're going to put aside our freedom to go and set some other people free. We're going to put aside our, our nourishment or our idea of like wanting to gather, and we're going to give away some things of our lives. And so I think if we become people like that, then we change the world. And not only that, if you find yourself going today, you're like, listen, I'm glad you guys are doing this, but you have no idea what I'm facing. And I came to church to like get something. I get it. I understand that. But you know that if the get that you want to get is connected to your giving. And what I mean by giving is, I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about when your peace is connected to your life that you live on purpose. Like if you talk to anybody, they go, you want to feel better about yourself? Go serve someone. Like you want to get stuck out of this pit of like depression? Go out and rescue someone else. Like people who are living their lives, giving their lives away, man, they are the most happiest people. And you and I are wired this way to live like this. Like you're made to pour yourself out and give yourself out. Now, I'm not talking about like carrying people's burdens, but I am saying caring for people's burdens. Like doing hard things. Like you were created to do this. Hard conversations, doing things that we need to do, instead of saying, you know what, I want to come here and someone take care of me. I'll say this, I remember when I first started coming to church, because my relationship with Jesus happened, not in a church service. And I started coming to church, getting to know church, and then working at church. I would hear this phrase several times. So yeah, we're looking at church, and I just want to know what this church has for me or has for us, as a family. And then people would just talk like that. I'm church hopping, and I understand trying to find a community. But the idea was, so the sentiment was, you're just trying to figure out what the church can do. What do you have for me here? We have people who go, you know what, recently even go, hey, you guys don't have this kind of ministry, so I'm out. And I'm like, wow, okay. And the sentiment of like, what can the church do for me or do for us or for my family? That is so opposite the teachings of Jesus. Because the teachings of Jesus says, it's not about what the church can do for me. It says, you are the church and you're here for the world. Like it switches it. You see, people come in and we all come in with wanting everybody else to meet our needs. If we all did that, no one's needs are met. Think about it. No one's needs are met. But if everybody walks in going, I'm going to meet someone else's need. If everybody thought that, guess what? All the needs are met. And if so, we've got to, as a church, and this is why we exist, and you guys have heard this before if you've been a part of us, we want to reclaim this message and the movement of Jesus. And reclaiming this is understanding this is so crucial. So as we get into some really super practical things, we'll give you some things today to do around your table for a little bit. Because what we're going to do is we're not going to end with a song like we do. I'm going to pray for us. We'll give you instructions, and we'll give you time to just kind of do things around your table. Also, go outside and do some things there. But then also allow yourself to be open to God leading you this week, this month, your life, to meet the needs of other people. So what are we doing this morning?
Okay, we have several options for you, so hang in there with me as I talk us through it. Jennifer, could you bring me that basket? So we have several different things that you can do here, some things that you can do, one thing you can do outside, and some stuff that you can just, thank you so much, take with you and maybe come up with a plan with your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers, or whatever. So let's go through this. So remember I talked about Winding Springs Elementary, that's the Title I school? Well, I would love for us to be able to write a note card to every single staff member at Winding Springs. And I've already pre-purchased, you better write the notes, because I also bought Walmart gift cards for every single staff member. Just a little blessing to say thank you for your hard work and for what you're doing. So every one of the tables, you're going to see a little card like this, and it's got the names of, this is actually the administrative staff. And I know that we actually have several assistant principals in here today, so woohoo. So we want to write a note to every single one. So if you, let me go through this, I'll come back to that. So in your box, there's a whole variety of note cards. So pick out a note card. If you write a note to the staff member, mark that name off, because we don't want anyone missed. So if it doesn't get written, if a note doesn't get written, I want to know so we can make sure that they're covered, right? And that they get what they need. And there's, again, variety of note cards. Let me encourage you, you don't have to stay at that table. Some people are going to get up and go outside to do one of the things that we have. Some people have other things, whatever. So if you're sitting in seats and not at tables, come fill in the tables as people start to trickle out. Let's make sure you can swap. Some tables might have better markers or pens than yours. In fact, our 2 underground tables, they have crayons, they have coloring pencils, they have note cards that you color the front of. So you might want to come steal some of their supplies. You could do that. You could move around tables. Let's just try to make sure every single one of these is covered. So the other thing, if there's extra notes in here, you can write a note to a child at Levine Children's Hospital. I actually reached out to them and I said, hey, how can we do this? And do you have suggestions? And so they gave us some guidelines. So you can read through those guidelines of just keeping it encouraging and upbeat and not spiritual, because there'll be people there from all faiths backgrounds. If you do that, then you can just put it back in your basket, and I will get these cards to everyone that need to go. Maybe you want to take one and write a note to your mail carrier. Maybe you want to take one and write one to your own teacher, you guys down here. Also, while you're doing that, Jennifer, wave Jennifer, she is going to be walking around with a black basket that has gift cards in it that actually want to come back to the acts of kindness. So, like I said, bear with me as I go through all this. Number 3, acts of kindness. Every one of you should have some of these in here. This is a card that we put together, just ways that you can show kindness to each other. So it's even broken down, something 5 minutes or less when you're out and about, and then something that maybe takes a little more planning. So you can take these and look through these ideas. Now for the gift card. We've bought extra gift cards for y'all to take. So Jennifer's going to walk around with a basket.
To give away,
To
right?
take to give away,
Okay.
not to use. I don't want to see y'all at Target later, or Chick-fil-A, actually. These are Chick-fil-A. So she's got a basket full of Walmart, Chick-fil-A, and I think Dunkin' Donuts gift cards. So take those. And this week, think of who, or ask God to show you, who can you give this to? Like I said, maybe you're a mail carrier, maybe the server at your lunch place today, whatever. So that is another option for you to do. Then you can do multiple things. You could do all that, and or out in the foyer, you probably saw it when you came in, there is a whole big long table set up with this thing that we call care packs. And Kelly is going to be there helping you. And actually also Sophia and Natalia are going to be helping for you to pack care packs. And these are like gallon-sized Ziploc bags full of things like toiletries and snacks and just socks. We had some wonderful Odd Sock ministry donate 200 pairs of socks. And these are packs that you can put together and then take with you and then give out. Keep it in your car, and maybe you're at a stoplight later today or later this week and you see someone at a stoplight, you could give it to them. Or maybe you know where your business is, your work is, that you've seen some people around there, give it to them. So the idea is to pack it and take it with you. And Kelly will talk you through that whole process. If we have leftover stuff and you want to pack a few extra and leave them here, you can do that. We'll definitely be able to find places to give them out. And then the last thing is Caterpillar Ministries, the place I talked about that I just love so much. They gave us a bunch of brochures all about the ministry, and then also this really super helpful ways that you can be involved. So you can read over this. This is their 2022 fall programming and all the different, everything from tutors to Bible club helpers to just all kinds of things. Lots of ways that you can support this ministry. And we'll be talking more about it over the months. But so I know that's a lot of stuff. Again, if you're in chairs, you can come pull your chair up to a table. Like, just wiggle your way in. It's totally fine. And Jennifer will be walking around. I'll be walking around. If you have questions, if you're confused, please come ask me, ask Jennifer. Kelly will help you with the care packs out there. But this is our response time. Naeem talked about we had 4 songs up front because now we're going to respond actively by participating in this. And so I know it's a lot of information, but hopefully everyone's kind of got the vision for what we're about ready to do.
Yeah. I'm going to invite the band to come on up. And as the band comes on up, I just want to mention that if you're online, your hosts have information where you can be a part of some of these ministries, even where you are. So make sure you a follow-up on that.
I forgot one other thing.
Oh, one more thing. Okay.
One more thing,
One more
and then
thing.
I'll be done. These little cards, everyone should have these. Just Hope for All, Mosaic. If you want, this is not about advertising or promoting, but we have had people who have started coming to Mosaic because they were blessed on a serve day. People do want to know. So you can take these Hope for All cards with you. Jennifer has extra. She also has extra acts of kindness cards. So if like every single person at your table wants one, we have plenty more.
Awesome.
But take these Hope for All cards. You can give them to the person you're giving the gift card to if you want, but you don't have to. They're just handy little things for you to have to give out.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, let's do this. Let's pray together. Can you stand? Let's do that. Let's pray together. Lord God, we just thank you so much for this conversation. God, as we end kind of our time here, God, I want to pray that our acts of kindness, God, I don't even know if I should pray this because you've already said this. You've already said that our acts of kindness, our purposeful intent on providing something practical for people who are in need is very spiritual. God, even you said it yourself. You said it yourself, that if you do this to the least of these, you've done it to me. And if you don't do it, it's as if you're not doing it to me. God, I know that it's so hard for us to make that spiritual shift where we go, well, spirituality is really about praying and fasting and doing other things that seem holy. But yet, Jesus, you came in and reclaimed all of that. And you said, no, that's not about that. The fast you want to fast is, the fast that God wants is when you do this stuff. When you do and serve your fellow human. When you do and be good and create a better world. So God, I pray that you would allow us to understand that and allow us to step into that. In Jesus' name, amen.